we're having some technical difficulties, so we may not be live streaming yet, but if anybody is watching, welcome to those of you watching via what may or may not be a live stream.
Yeah.
We'll do introductions of the board members that we have here this evening, starting to my right, Maria Morales and Elizabeth Wise. To my left, Sarah Faltis. Joining us via Zoom is Leah Stanley. Right, Leah?
Hello. Oh, yes.
Uh, we've got two of our student school board members here tonight, Namade Harmon and Audrey Miller Pfeiffer. I'm Sean Heitman. To my left is Dr. Theron Schutte, the superintendent of schools. To my right, Mr. Randy Denham, our board secretary. I think that's everybody. We've got a pink sign-up sheet there on the speaker's table for anybody who wants to address the board during public comment. You will be given 5 minutes to speak to the board. Please understand that Iowa law prohibits the discussion of specific employees of the district or their job performance. Also, in accordance with board policy, board members will not respond to comments made so that we can comply with open meeting laws. I think with those things out of the way, did I get everything, Randy? You got it? All right. It's been a little bit, so I'm a little rusty. Would you all please join me in reading the mission statement of the Marshalltown Community School District? We develop learners who have the knowledge, skills, and positive mindset to successfully pursue a meaningful future through personalized learning experiences. And please stand as you're able and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
Liberty, just for all.
Do we have any changes to the agenda tonight?
Yes, we've got an amendment relative to a purchase agreement for a property on 107 South 12th Street.
Then we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Faltis Morales, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say no. That motion carries 5-0. And with that, let's see, we need to open the public hearing on the approval of the 26-27 school year calendar in accordance with Iowa Code Section 279.10. Anybody here who wishes to give comment on the 26-27 school year calendar? Seeing nobody. Randy, did we receive any written comments on the 26-27 school year calendar?
We did not.
Then I will close the public hearing on the proposed 26-27 school year calendar, and we will move on to recognitions.
Okay. So last week we had our Miller Spelling Bee. We had 19 students compete in the finals at the Welcome Center, and a variety of words were met up against their students. So the final successful word in the Spelling Bee was suburbia, with Tyler Bear being named as the champion of 2026. He'll move on to the regional round in Des Moines. We also have our alternates here tonight, and I'll let them introduce themselves, but pass the mic over.
So my name is Lucas Johnson. I'm the co-chair of the Spelling Bee. We brought the Spelling Bee back this year for the first time in 6 years. We had over 80 spellers try out, and we narrowed that down to 19 finalists who then made use of the black box over at the Orpheum and prepared the best that they could and did a phenomenal job spelling. And we had a great audience in attendance too. With parents and grandparents and friends and family members. And so looking forward to continuing this tradition after a few years off. And so I'll let our spellers take a seat, and if you have any spelling words you want to quiz them with, feel free.
Do you guys want to introduce yourself?
My name is Daniel Goslinga, and I'm in 7th grade.
My name's Tyler Bear and I'm in 8th grade.
My name's Playcom and I'm in 7th grade.
So tell us a little bit about the experience, what it was like.
I like competition, so I was excited to join.
I also like competition, so. Oh yeah. Also, since I'm an accelerated ELA, my ELA teacher, Mr. Sir, signed all the advanced kids up.
Mr. Johnson also signed us up, but
Did you guys practice in any way, shape, or form, or no?
I kind of just went off of what I knew, but now that I'm going to state, I'm gonna have to practice. Yeah.
Good thinking.
When is the state competition?
March 6th.
Okay. So you got a month to get ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Want to thank the teachers, the co-sponsors for the effort to provide this opportunity to the kids. I happened to go to the prelims at Miller, where the 80 students or what have, and was really, really impressed with the number of students that did really well for quite a while into the competition. I sat towards the back, but was listening intently to the words, and I was like, yeah, these aren't too bad. And then all of a sudden, when it got towards the end, boy, the level of difficulty ramped up in a hurry. There were probably 4 or 5 words I would have missed for sure. So one that I wasn't even familiar with. But I was really impressed, and I remember Daniel doing this. The kids did a really good job of asking for it to be repeated, asking for definitions, which I thought was really impressive that so many kids took that opportunity.
Yeah, I thought they did a really great job for not having anything like this for the last 6 years, so. I think it was good.
Can each of you share what was your biggest takeaway or what you enjoyed the most?
I would say to try like everything, not just like I enjoy sports, but to try educational stuff too, because
My biggest takeaway is to push yourself out of your comfort zone for things, which is similar to what Tyler said, because I was not in favor of doing the spelling bee, but I did pretty well, so I'll probably try some more in the future.
My takeaway is that I love being signed up against my will. Really.
Well, we're super proud of all 3 of you. You did an outstanding job out of 800 total students plus that are at Miller Middle School. So you should be really proud of that. Future looks bright with a couple 7th graders in the queue for next year too. And we wanted to present you with a small token of your accomplishment with those trophies. So I'm sure that we'll want to get some pictures of you before you leave here. But congratulations.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Don't let Miss Gilbertson hide. Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Marshalltown Garden Club donation. The Marshalltown High School Greenhouse is receiving $1,000 in support from the Marshalltown Garden Club to help purchase a self-watering system. Jean Klosterman, a member of the club, is here tonight to present the check to MHS teacher Tara Gray. I'll pass it over to them.
Well, frankly, I had no idea I was presenting a check tonight, so I don't have one. But it won't be in the mail. It'll be handed over live and in person. Marshtown Garden Club has been active in the city since 1912. We were federated in 1929, which simply means we joined other garden clubs throughout the state. We support a lot of scholarships, a lot of garden related what's the word?
Organizations.
Pardon?
Organizations.
Thank you. Organizations. It's a big one. Don't ask me to spell it. So we looked around, and this past fall when we were putting our budget together for 2026, and we wanted to assist with a couple of different projects in Marshalltown. Okay. I'm a graduate of the Marshalltown Community School District 1971. Yay. So the fixture at the high school was a really big deal when I was in school and for years after that. And I was very saddened when it was torn down. And then I was heartened when it was rebuilt. And so that was my recommendation to the garden club, was to assist on some level with this new operation at the high school. And we're very happy to do that. And we will hope that you will accept our $1,000.
So speaking on behalf of the Ag Ed department, we're very excited to have this. This spring is actually the first year that our greenhouse will be fully operational and up and running. Students have already, as we started the new semester, been in the greenhouse. They're very excited to get some vegetable plants up and running, and so they've been trying to get them going by seed. We've had a very serious conversation that seeds need water to start growing, and that water has to occur every single day. We've also had conversation that seeds have to be planted at the right planting depth, and there is a point of getting the seed too far into the soil. So it's a big learning opportunity. We're very fortunate in Marshalltown to have several greenhouses in the area that want to partner with us and have been helping us through. For those of you who know me, I think, hired on for my animal science background. Plants for me is more of a hobby that I have at my house, not necessarily something that comes natural to me. So I've been very fortunate for the greenhouses in the area to partner with. We're actually horticulture is going next week to Swift Greenhouse to see what plants we can get to start planting in our greenhouse. And then we are actually partnering with Isle of the Green. We're going to go to their greenhouse at the end of February, do a true greenhouse management thing there. And then whatever we do there, we're taking it back to our greenhouse. So we're going to go learn how to properly space plants in the hanging baskets and what are companion plants. And then we're going to take those plugs and bring them back and start our own baskets in the greenhouse. And we'll be doing that partnership for a couple of weeks until the kids feel comfortable. They've already actually set the plant sale the last weekend of April, the first weekend of May, and then the second weekend of May as well, right before Mother's Day. So they've been working diligently, and I'm excited that the watering system will be going in with the help of the garden club as well. And maybe they won't have to worry about watering those plants every day because it'll be a self-watering system. So.
Well, Jean, I think we will happily accept your donation from.
I am so relieved to hear that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We're glad to have the opportunity to help out. You know, one of the things that in our society as a rule, just in general people are moving farther and farther away from gardening, from agriculture, from things of the earth. And I'm so glad that your greenhouse at the high school is reintroducing these kids, because we need to, hook up with the youth and get them involved. And this is just one way to do it. And it could turn into a career. And how much better can that be? So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's National School Counselor Week this week, February 2nd through, what's Friday, the 6th. And we wanted to recognize our school counselors.
And now can you use the microphone?
Was I not? I can pick it up. Is that better?
There you go.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you hear the difference?
I can. I could use my teacher voice too. So this week starts this day starts the week of National School Counselor Week. And we wanted to bring in some representatives from our counseling department across all our grade levels. So we have Ashley Chima, who's our PLC lead for the elementary level, Rachel Meckley, who's our PLC lead for the middle school level, and then, of course, Adam Van Arkel, who is our PLC lead at the high school level. And we just want to recognize the important work that they do, because they not only support our students with social emotional needs on a daily basis, but they also guide them in teaching them not about academics and academic success, and preparing them for the high school, and also preparing them for every transition that they have coming forward as they move through our system. So we do appreciate everything that you all do, not just the three of you, but everyone within your team. And so we have some fun stuff planned for them this week that they may or may not be aware of, but we will be recognizing them in small ways throughout the week this week as well. So you can ask them questions.
Well, we're blessed to have not only you three, but we have a great, unbelievable cadre of school counselors across the district working in collaboration with not only the principals, but the SRSs and the mental health providers. And your job has gotten far from easier over the last few decades. And so we commend you for serving us and our students and their families, and three great representatives to represent the counselors tonight. Now you can hit them with hard questions if you want. Oh, thank you very much for what you do.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Evening.
Good evening. I'll be get back out.
Eric Whedon, Safety, Security, and Facilities Manager. Tonight I'm with Officer Logan Wolf with the Marshtown Police Department and Captain Sadie Weekly. Tonight I'd like to talk to you guys about our appreciation for School Resource Officer Logan Wolf, and I have prepared a little statement here. Marshtown High School School Resource Officer Logan Wolf has been at Marshtown High School since the fall of 2022. In this time, Officer Wolf has demonstrated that relationship building far exceeds arrest when applicable, and recognizes that the high school years can be a challenging time for some. Through empathy and compassion, Officer Wolf is able to bring a calm demeanor to situations that can be at times hostile, full of conflict, and a need for resolution. To date, I'm not familiar with a situation that wasn't handled accordingly by Officer Wolf. Officer Wolf was born and raised in LeGrand, Iowa, that as of 2024 has a population of 891 people. In comparison, Marshtown High School has an enrollment near 1,600 students and approximately 100 staff members. Officer Wolf graduated with a class of 70. When Officer Wolf started at Marshtown High School, he was in awe of the size of the student population and the physical size of the building. This feeling soon dissipated, and Officer Wolf has since embraced and is very comfortable with Marshtown High School. With approximately 1,600 students being teenagers, a person in the role of a school resource officer must be prepared each day to the many obstacles that can occur in a school community larger than the population of any surrounding communities of Marshalltown. Officer Wolf is comfortable and prepared each day and is truly an asset to Marshtown High School. Officer Wolf is charismatic, approachable, and well-liked by both students and staff at MHS. In my years of knowing Officer Wolf, I haven't seen him get mad or lose control. Unwavering and self-control are components in part to being a successful school resource officer, and Officer Wolf exhibits both. Outside of his school resource officer role, Officer Wolf is involved in overseeing the esports program for MHS, a program that didn't exist prior to his arrival, and also working with Marshtown High School's Silver Cord program by having students volunteer at various nonprofit organizations. I know for a fact that these organizations appreciate the efforts of Officer Wolf and the Silver Cord students and would oftentimes request the service provided by the program. As School Resource Officer Appreciation Day approaches February 15th, I want to say thank you on behalf of Marshtown Community School District to Officer Wolf for his role at Marshtown High School. This program is critical in maintaining a safe and secure environment to our staff and students. Officer Wolf is the right person for the job, and I hope to see him in this role for many years to come for reasons mentioned above. Officer Wolf, we recognize your work and appreciate you. Thank you. We also want to extend a thank you to Marshtown Police Department's Chief Chris Jones, Captain Sadie Weekly, and Captain Kyle Stevenson for the continued support of the SRO program in the Marshtown Community School District. Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo what Eric says. I've had the opportunity, both as a principal and a superintendent, to work with a lot of SROs to advocate at times where people are questioning whether, communities should have them or shouldn't have them. I've always believed that the number one goal of those positions is to build relationships with kids and parents and adults so that people develop respect and appreciation for the services that the police department offers. And as Eric alluded to, by describing the attribute slogan that you have, that's absolutely critically important to develop those positive, productive behaviors so that if things go south with kids, either at school or outside of school, they have an adult who they feel comfortable that they can come to and seek advice or help and that sort of thing. So, that being said, you've done a phenomenal job of that, of building those positive relationships. And yes, it's nice to have you at times of crisis or need, but 95% of your existence is building those positive relationships. And you've done, in my opinion, an outstanding job of that for the Marshtown schools. And Marshtown Police Department's been a terrific, continues to be a terrific partner. They always have been, and we appreciate the collaboration and the mutual benefit for the school and I think the police department. So Sadie, thanks for that.
Yeah, so thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it. It means a lot. The big part, like you said, 95% of this job is building that rapport. It's something that I feel the school district here does a great job of, is allowing opportunities, as the kids earlier said, for everyone. My big thing is supporting, whether it's band or sports or esports or, art club, whatever it be. I think you guys have all those opportunities and windows for kids to succeed. And I want to make sure that they understand they're supported. And I enjoy being that person that gets to work in the school and support those kids. I enjoy, the basketball games, working those. And it's not just a basketball game you get to watch the color guard and the dance team and all that. I enjoy being that one to give them a fist bump when they come off and they did a great job, because maybe some other people won't be as excited to understand how well or much they excel in something that they're interested in. And I will say, I never really thought about LeGrand having 800 people. So thanks for that, class of 2009. But I was in awe my first day, just realizing how many people were in that building. And I am super comfortable now, and I do hope to continue this for many years to come. And there's one more thing I wanted to say. I can't remember what it was. I don't remember that thing, but also working alongside Mr. Whedon here. You know, he's a great mentor. I'm sure school was much different when he was there, but he's a good mentor to have and really good to work alongside of. So I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Leather football helmets back then, I think.
Yeah. Pretty close.
I'll just say I appreciate you guys recognizing Officer Wolf. We really enjoy having him at the school. He's one that we know he goes there and we don't have to worry about him. We know he's doing the right thing for your guys' agency as well as ours. And I definitely appreciate the collaboration we have with the school district, and we look forward to continuing that and hopefully growing that program as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. He gets a clap too.
The last recognition tonight is an informational one about Emerson School Drive. The Marshalltown Community School District would like to recognize the generosity of Emerson and its employees for their donation of school supplies. The donated items range from backpacks to personal hygiene items. Our schools will work to identify students who can benefit from these items and ensuring they are distributed where they are needed most. We are grateful for Emerson's continued support of our students and school community.
Thanks, Abby.
Thanks, Emerson and its employees. If you're watching later or now.
Okay, moving on then to the consent agenda. We've got minutes from the January 12th regular meeting and from the January 23rd special meeting. Jackie, are there any items of note in personnel? Okay. Looking at interagency agreements and contracts, we've got a professional services agreement with FACTS to provide services to St. Francis. A content services and license agreement between Inflection Point Learning and the school district. An award notification and project manual for Miller Middle School renovations. This would be for the curtain wall and exterior glazing portion. And a contract between the school district and East Moline Operating Company doing business as CR Glass Company. An agreement with Century 21 Real Estate to provide real estate services to the school district. And then a purchase agreement between the school district and David Rangel and Yuri Fabiola Garcia Ventura for purchase of property at 109 South 12th Street, and an agreement with IKW LLC for a purchase of property at 107 South 12th Street in Marshalltown. We've got one special ed service agreement for a student at College Community School District. Are there any questions about any of those items? Looking at open enrollments for the current school year, we've got 5 out. And for the next school year, 2 out and 1 in. Is that the same special ed agreement there?
I was like, put it on there, down there too.
Okay. Are there any questions about bills or the financials for Randy this month or this week or this meeting? There we go, this meeting. In gifts, grants, and bequests, we've got the garden club donation of $1,000 for the greenhouse to help with the self-watering system, and a $500 donation from Mary Giese and Christine Norman in support of the MHS Orchestra program. Food Service Department has 1 combi oven that they would like to have declared obsolete, and Hoagland Elementary has 1 obsolete refrigerator. And then we have a grant to approve from the Community Foundation of Marshall County for the Franklin Field walking bike path. I thought we've done that a while ago. Any questions about anything in the consent agenda? Then is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
So moved.
We'll go with Faltus Stanley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Nobody's on the pink sheet, so Chelsea, Mandy, you guys are up.
Shauna's gonna morally support us. I kind of feel like the middle school spellers, like we were brought against our will. But that hopefully by the end of this, we'll be appreciative of the opportunity like they were.
So Chelsea Vance from Fisher Elementary, new principal this year, second year in administration, but Mandy and I are both kind of new to our roles this year. So that's been a nice thing to navigate together, but she's been a huge help. We wanted to start by thanking everybody who came to visit us last week and extend an open invitation to anybody who would like to ever visit us in the future, more than just in the office chatting. We wanted to highlight two things today. So you can move on to the next slide. We house the alternate assessment program for all the elementary students who qualify for that in our district. So we wanted to share a little bit about that. And then we also wanted to touch on the Iowa School Performance Profile for our building. So first, with alternate assessment, our program serves students with the most difficult cognitive disabilities, and they require a different curriculum. So at some point, their IEP team has decided as a group to move them from standardized assessments like FAST and ISASP to the alternate assessment like ELAA and DLM, lots of fun acronyms. But our biggest goal with having them at our school is inclusion for all, and not just looking at them as students who take different forms of assessments, but ensuring that they have equitable access to all the things in our building and all the things that we have to offer at Fisher. So the impact that it has on our school, it just has offers great moments for peer interaction, inclusion. When I came to Fisher last year, I'm not exactly sure. I think it was pretty similar last year, but I told them that my bare minimums were that our students will be entering gen ed classrooms for morning meeting, specials, and lunch and recess if it worked into their schedules. Some students, we do have them push into core if they're able to, and if it's subject areas that they're maybe a little bit higher in. We also built a new sensory room attached to one of the classrooms, and we have students of all abilities that go in and use that at any point throughout the day. It's in Carla Saxton's room, and she's been very welcoming, and we're so grateful to our buildings and ground staff for like literally revamping that room. If you walk into the preschool room, it like used to look like that, and now it is just so much cooler, lots of different opportunities for them. And then we also think it helps to just foster the diversity and the inclusion for all students, being exposed to students with different needs. So quickly at a glance, like I mentioned, we have two classrooms. We have Susan Arifi's room. She has been with the district for a long time in various special ed capacities. And then we have Carla Saxton. I think she came to us from Woodbury. Yep. And she has also been in that role for a while. And Carla's room is the room that has the sensory room in it. But a lot of friends from Susan's room and from other parts of the building come in and use her classroom. We have 20 students that receive alternate assessment and essential elements instruction. There's 4 in kindergarten, 4 in first grade, 3 in second grade, 3 in third grade, and 5 in fifth grades, or 5 in fourth grades. We have a big chunk that will go on to Linehan next year. And then approximately 15 paraeducators. I think of all the elementaries, Fisher has the most paraeducators because of this program. So it's a lot more adults to be working with and schedules to be finagling, but we're always thankful to Ben and Jackie for giving us more paraeducators because we put them all to very good use. So we just have a few pictures on this slide and the next slide. And if anybody had any questions or anything they wanted to comment on after visiting that day before we move on to the next part.
No, I don't have a question. I guess my comment would be, it was very it was good to get into that classroom and see how in person, how labor intensive that teaching and learning is, right? I mean, you know, we talk about one-on-one and that stuff, but to actually see it in person, really, it was eye-opening is not quite the right way to, but it was good to see.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if you also think about the fact that we originally wanted 3 of those classrooms and we didn't get a third one hired this year, just something to kind of think about how taking the load off of those teachers a little bit would be nice. They do a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the paras do too. Yeah.
Everybody in there,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to our Iowa School Performance Profile. I wasn't sure how familiar the board was with
The roadmaps.
no, just like the Iowa School Performance
Being able
Profile.
to-
in general.
Yeah.
So we took a few screenshots and just wanted to share some facts, but Fisher is commendable. We've been commendable for a few years. This isn't really any thanks to me because it's all off of last year, but we're hoping to keep it this way going forward. The range for commendable is up there at the top, and then you can see where we fell 2 years ago and then last year. So we took a little dip, and then we are getting close to being away from commendable. So we worked with Shauna and Erica to kind of find, well, Shauna made us a roadmap to high performing and kind of highlighted a few things that we can work on. So the next few slides are just kind of snippets of what you can see. The black diamond on all of those is like the state average, and then you can see where Fisher falls. So like when I look at these, my eyes always go to like, where did we not meet to the state average? Shauna looks at it a little more in depth, which we chat about it like so frequently, but because we could both get lost in all the data and all the ways to look at it. But we went to like growth in English language arts as a big one, and then proficiency in both math and ELA was what we kind of found for our biggest opportunities for improvement. This just kind of breaks it down a little bit more, showing all students and then a few different demographics. So my eyes also went straight to students with disabilities, thinking, you know, what could we do with our special ed team to hopefully improve that score? Also thinking how much of our having the alternate assessment program in our building might impact that score. Just different things to kind of think about with that. Not too far off in the math. And I think on the next one, I think it shows growth. I think you could see that the math was, we kind of credit some of that to our, hopefully our new curriculum reveal. And so I think the next slide will show you what we were kind of focusing on for opportunities for improvement. Obviously, we always want our percent proficient to be bigger and our growth to be bigger. The students on IEPs really stood out. So some action steps that we've took to kind of address that. When I came into Fisher, our special ed teachers were working with students of all grade levels. We actually had some students who would get like math from one teacher and reading from another teacher. So I dove right in and kind of regrouped all of them so that we have 3 like level 1 resource special ed teachers. I wanted students who were served by those teachers to maybe narrow it in a little bit, like refine what the teachers have to work with so that like my 4th grade teacher can just focus on 4th grade curriculum and 4th grade standards, and she didn't have to go K4 to kind of help her hone in on the curriculum a little bit more and teach students to what the other students were learning in their classroom, hopefully close that gap. And then after our All Means All conference, we also decided to start some Gen Ed SPED collaboration meetings. We've done 3 so far, 2 or 3?
2.
And we're going to
Got
do
2 this week.
Every grade level. I know every building's talking about how they're going to make it work, but what we decided was once a month, we will pull the teacher that works with kindergarten IEP students or kindergarten, or the teacher who works with students on first grade students who have IEPs. They will come into the conference room. We will find people to cover welcoming their students and their morning meeting. So it gives us a good 40 minute chunk to work on different things to help the gen ed teacher and the special ed teacher have more time together. I'm not perfect yet, but we're going to revise as we go. And then we're hoping at some point to also bring in Susan and Carla, who work with our students on alternate assessment, to see how we can strengthen their time in the gen ed classroom or partner with them a little bit more.
You covered it all.
Yeah,
I didn't really need to say anything. And thinking about our attendance center plan, which they were shared, correct, Shauna? The board seen all of the attendance center plans?
Yeah.
We had set some goals for literacy and math, and literacy, we came in looking at Fisher's data for the year, looking at FAST assessment, not ISASS, but looking at the entire building. We were at 58% proficient on literacy, and we made a goal to get to 68 by the end of the year. We are at 68% at the winter window right now, so we want to maintain and obviously grow. But we're ahead of where we were last year, so that's exciting for us. And then for math, students came in at 65%, and we are currently at 70. Our attendance center plan goal was 70, so we need to maintain and grow. And again, we're ahead where we were last year. So we're making little baby steps, and we've had some really good systems in place at Fisher for quite a long time. So just trying to refine some little pieces to keep eking out more growth for all of our kids.
Yeah, I shared with the board when they visited last week that I could not have asked for a better system to come into. Jennifer August and Mark Lee, and now Mandy following Jennifer August has just been amazing.
It's been fun.
Yeah, their PLCs are perfect.
We work hard.
A 5% increase is not a baby increase. That is a very nice
Big.
increase.
Mhm.
It's a
Thanks.
great celebration.
Yeah, we're excited about it. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest aha when we came out of the all means all was not that we didn't know it, but trying to figure out how do we integrate those special education teachers in a meaningful way, knowing that they serve students across grade levels and that sort of thing. So definitely commend you guys for figuring out a short-term way to start making that happen, because not only for Fisher, but for the whole district, if we can figure out a better way to support both our kids and their teachers in that arena, it's going to make a world of difference in our overall results for sure.
Yeah, it's opened up a whole door because now like ELL is like, well, I want some input on how we're writing things for the students that I serve in ELL, like to kind of see what their goals and their accommodations look like. So it's just been a nice conversation that everybody's kind of been excited to be a part of.
And really with the All Means All Conference, we were given a lot of really great resources, a lot of really good learning happened there. So we were able to take what's called an asset analysis protocol that we learned from there, how to build the team of gen ed and special ed teachers and how they can work together and find each other's strengths and rely upon each other. And that's how we've started out all of our gen ed sped collab meetings, is trying to set that base for where what we're all bringing to the table and how we can best serve all of our kids. So it's been great.
Any other questions or comments?
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Schutte, you want to talk about the calendar?
Yeah, so the calendar that's being brought before you, being recommended for approval, is the same as before. It's very similar to most of the calendars that we've had during my tenure here, with the exception of the past couple years where we've built in some additional professional development opportunities. First day is the first legal day that we can have school, Monday, August 24th. We're back to our traditional 3-day break over Thanksgiving versus week-long. This calendar, like this year's, has a 2-week winter break, so that's nice. And then the last day for students is scheduled for Thursday, June 3rd, and for staff, Friday, June 4th. It worked out that we've got the same number of days for first semester and second semester, which is always nice. There's 12 teacher professional development days built in there as well.
I think last meeting you indicated you were going to survey staff.
Yeah, so through the calendar committee, the question got raised about, might staff prefer to have a shorter winter break and get out of school a little bit earlier? Still would have been June 1st or 2nd, which I think part of the goal was to try to figure out how to finish in May versus June. But Essentially 60% of 490 or so respondents to the survey preferred having the 2-week break, with another 20% not caring one way or the other. So 80% basically supported the calendar that we put forward versus shortening up the winter break and getting out a few days earlier.
Any other questions or comments?
Just Theron, thank you for going and asking the teachers and getting their input and feedback and having that inform the direction that we're going.
Yeah, it was a great question, honestly, and so it was very easy with the tools that we have to ask their opinion on it, and so I think people feel pretty comfortable with this calendar.
Then, is there a motion to approve the 2026, 2027 school year calendar as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Morales Faltis, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries 5-0. Ready, girls?
Hello, it's been a while.
Welcome back.
We missed you.
Okay.
I'll start us off. This was last Thursday. LOL met to talk about the book Graceling. I was not able to go to this meeting because it wasn't during my lunch hour. And I didn't have time to read the book either, but I heard that it was good.
Can you remind me what LOL stands for?
Sure, over lunch.
Basically like a book club where they give you snacks.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
This Friday, a member from the National Guard will be sharing information about the steps you can take for those interested in military careers, open to grades 11 and 12 in the library.
there's a lot of success with the military things at the school. There are a lot of people interested in that, it seems. So I guess that's good. NHS is having a fundraiser. So the theme is community hygiene, and there was a hot chocolate stand open after school on the 29th and the 30th. I worked on the 29th. Different groups are managing different fundraisers, so there will be little activities separated into groups that will raise money for community hygiene. My group is currently organizing a basketball game, so we will be doing Chuck-a-Duck, where it's like a game where you throw a duck and whoever gets it closest to a certain, like a hula hoop or a whatever, they earn a prize. We have secured some gift cards that people would be interested in. One is from Lily Mays and another is for the bowling alley, sorry. And we'll be giving these gifts away to the top 3 people who win, and we'll be helping set up the stand and create the ads and the posters for this. The Seal of Biliteracy was conducted on January 27th into the 28th. It was long, and they kind of sent us back to class and then had us come back the next day. There will be a chance to retake it in April for those of the students who didn't do as well. And the scores will be out by the 4th of this month. I haven't gotten mine back yet, but one of my teachers in Spanish, they were like, congratulations. So I don't know if they know before we know, but let's hope that she knows what she's talking about. So the library, now you have to sign in to be able to enter the library. They give you a token, and this is a method to reduce the amount of people using the library to skip their classes. I think it has been working. There is no more than 25 people in the library now, unless they're bringing classes in there. So I think it's a very efficient and effective method. So I like that they did that. And then the Bobcat athletics, that wasn't added to this, and it was like wasn't updated. So we have it on ours, but I'm guessing it's not up there. So we'll just skim over that.
Girls and boys wrestling. More information to come about regionals and the conference. Girls basketball took the court last week by beating the FD Dodgers 34-31. Boys basketball sadly lost against the FD Dodgers 43-32. Wait, 43-42, sorry. More information to come about the Friday games against W East. And boys swimming won their meet against FD Dodgers 116-53.
So pretty successful. I'm happy about that. Miley wasn't here to share this, but we hope that she's doing good because apparently she hit her head. So, yeah, and she has a concussion. So that's not funny. Why you laugh? So let's hope that she gets better soon. Sorry, that is all. Okay.
Thanks, girls.
Yes.
Stay here. Chapter 5.
Yes, chapter 5 titled It's You Who Have to Try It, and It's You Who Have to Fall Sometimes. Focus was learning and growing, which is obviously right up our alley.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific, but I will say this was so far my favorite chapter to read. And I can't really explain why. I just know it was my favorite chapter to read so far.
I can't hear the people over on the off to the side, the rest of the cabinet.
Leah can't hear you. So if you're gonna talk, come on up to the table.
And I forgot to bring my book with me, but I remember just the feeling when I was reading this about how and looking at my children that are a little bit older and the ages, some of the things that they have to go through when they're younger, feeling like they have to do everything perfect all the time, I think makes it very hard for them when they move into adulthood and they don't have to recover from something and they haven't built that skill set of having to, like, the whole piece of having to fail sometimes and that they have to do it on their own. And I just remember when I was reading this thinking that how important that life skill is.
Mm-hmm. I really liked how perseverance is kind of wrapped into that too, in just you can't have this willingness to give up, when something doesn't quite turn out the way you want it to. We need to stick with it, and I think that's not necessarily just inherently built into our youth. And then I think at the end of the chapter where it kind of growth mindset comes in, I agree that this was the best chapter to read, but mostly because I think I just wholeheartedly agreed with the message. Like, maybe if we look inside at ourselves and what we've struggled with and overcome, obviously we didn't give up either, right? So you can find something, I'm sure, in your life that you persevered through.
As hard as it gets, right? We just keep going.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that has to do too with how we as adults present things to kids and how we respond when students do or don't get things right. Do we respond in a way that reinforces their continued perseverance and that it's okay to, I mean, we learn probably as much or more from not getting it right than we do when we do get it right. So they talked a lot about that and kind of the positive mindset type piece and positive affirmation and the encouragement and how all those things are instrumental to kids working through issues and stuff.
I think along with that is a piece about the toxic stress that some of our students and even adults live in on a daily basis. And when we are in that toxic stress, we don't learn, we don't have the brain capacity to persevere or to have that growth mindset. And I think that goes along with what Dr. Shuda was saying and the book explaining how it's crucial how the adults around the students, whether they be young adults like at the high school level or kids that they have those safe people that will teach them with that compassion and that affirmation and bring that toxic stress to a stress level that is still needed in order to learn and grow, right? And also be mindful that a lot of our kids go home to this toxic stress on a regular basis. And what we do as a school community to help with that is critical too, and how we deal with certain situations and how we manage even within our discipline. Honestly, I was looking at it through that lens. And yeah, I'll stop there now because I can keep going. Here, Ben, all yours.
I resonated with the story that the authors told about the two clips of a pianist playing, and it was really one pianist, but they said it was two different ones. One who was a natural and one was a striver, and that people then described what they heard differently. In the natural they thought was really good, and the striver they weren't as impressed with. And there's a lot of research in special education that backs up a very similar thing of when we label the student, then teachers see them differently and have different expectations. And it made me think of the work that we're doing, why we're working so hard to move away from thinking of these are special ed kids or these are level 2 kids. Instead, just they're Marshalltown Bobcats and they have a lot of potential and we're going to provide them some services. But if the label is the first thing we think of, then we automatically take down our expectations.
You know, what also struck me about that you mentioned, Ben, is that it's not just the adults, it's the kids themselves, right? Who then label themselves and then it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I mean, this is who I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so they don't, yeah.
And can you imagine by the time they get to the high school?
Right.
If that's what has been the pattern?
Right.
Yeah.
And the comparison too, when you think about, that growth mindset, it gave that example of, was it Michael Jordan and Albert Einstein? Like, yes, we have to accept, our imperfections, and that we're not all going to be Michael Jordans, but that we can grow our mindset and become who we want to be. But we also have to accept who we are as well and know that we're not perfect. And I think that's the hardest at time with students when they're comparing themselves with other students of, why are they excelling and why am I not? And I'm trying my hardest as well.
I think connected to that, that feels a lot like the Fisher conversation that they were sharing with us just now. I think they're really building that kind of a culture that has kids that look very different and experience success differently. And every time I'm over there, I just impressed by that they're really building that kind of a culture that looks at success in lots of different ways and doesn't expect their kids to all be successful in the same way.
I read about the whole ACEs,
Oh, yeah.
we've known about ACEs, but I thought it was interesting when they talked about how positive childhood experiences can overcome ACEs? Did you, and I thought,
Yeah,
are
in
there
our school,
measurement?
yeah.
Is there a way to
Yeah.
measure the positive childhood experiences, like how we measure ACEs and whether or not? That was just curiosity.
There was a study that explained
Yeah, to
about-
talk.
yeah, there was a study of, I think 17,000 adults, and it was just a survey. I shouldn't say just, it was a survey where they talked about, it really was identifying the ACEs and how many really, how, the outcome that they had based on those. Yeah. I think another critical piece, it reminded me of another book that from Oprah Winfrey, really is like What Happened to You, is with Bruce Perry and Oprah Winfrey. And it's really like asking kids, or really not directly asking them, but not like, what's wrong with you or why are you doing this? It's more of a matter like what happened to you, to help them understand, or to help yourself understand, in order to help them. And it's acknowledging, it's teaching kids to help them recognize and acknowledge their situation, and then how to persevere from that. So that was a big takeaway too. So it's not going to be helpful to protect them from what toxic stress they may be dealing with on a daily basis at home, but helping them acknowledge what that situation is for them, and then teaching them the skills to how to persevere and see themselves breaking out of that cycle almost. That's how I took that part.
Yeah, there was, I think towards the end of the chapter, they talked about how, there's these extraordinary situations where people are able to raise themselves out of that, but those are not the norm, and that it really takes concerted effort, not only on the students' part, but the adults around them, to position them for future success. So, which I think we strive really hard to do. Not that we've figured out the exact recipe of supports for all kids, but I think we're getting there.
That was where the positive childhood experiences question came from. Like, to what extent are we potentially fulfilling some of those at school?
Because they're a safe place.
Did you girls have an opportunity to read the chapter? Okay. Well, if you have an opportunity, it's a good one. You guys would be able to relate to it.
Okay. Anything else from anybody? Chapter 6 for next time.
And we do have the authors tentatively scheduled to join us at a future board meeting as well, once we complete the book, for a little Q&A.
Cool. All right, Randy.
You want to talk budget?
Take it away.
All right. There's the presentation one there, Jen, if you want to open that one. Yep, should be that one. Okay, it is that time of year where we start getting ready for the certified budget and start talking about the 26-27 fiscal year, or FY 27. Go ahead and go to the next slide there, Jen. So just as a reminder, the certified budget process is twofold. First part is to meet the statutory process and timeline for establishing and certifying the property tax rate for FY 27. So that's mainly what I'm going to talk about tonight, is just kind of the timeline of what to expect over the next several weeks as we work through the budget process. The other function of the certified budget is to publish the estimated consolidated expenditures for our various funds. General fund is the largest fund of all those funds, and it's the one that probably gets the most attention, but we are setting the budget for all of our funds. for the upcoming year. So when we say consolidated expenditures, those are broken down into 4 functional areas: instructional, support services, non-instructional, and other. Other typically is a lot of our construction expenses and things of that nature. Just a quick reminder, this is a process that's different from, you'll hear us reference the line item budget process quite a bit. That's a little bit more granular in detail. We have over 5,000 chart of account codes in our system. That's what the line item budget is. We're setting that budget for each of those line item accounts. This certified budget process does set our framework, and we kind of drill down from there as we work through that. So next slide. 2 main pieces with certified budget each year. The first one is a piece that we do already know. That's our certified enrollment. That's done October 1st of each year. We did that this past fall, and I'll go over that here in a second. And the second large piece of the puzzle is state supplemental aid, or SSA. That has not yet been set for fiscal year 27. So early January, the governor gives her condition of the state address, which she did on January 13th. In her state of the address, she is recommending a 2% increase for SSA. SSA by law does have to be set within the first 30 days of session. So that'll be coming up here soon. I haven't heard any indications one way or another if SSA will be set. I have heard that that is the goal, is to have that set within that first 30 days, but historically that has not always been the case. So right now, assuming a 2% SSA, that's an increase to our regular program district cost, which then flows into the state formula, as we'll get into later on in future presentations. But it calculates our district cost per pupil, which then, based off of the number of students, SSA is increasing the cost per pupil times our certified enrollment, basically gives us the total dollar amount that will be generated for the budget for next year. So assuming a 2% SSA increase, that would increase our current cost per pupil $160 per student, from $79.89 to $81.49 for fiscal year 27. So yeah, on the next couple of slides, I'll kind of show that correlation with certified enrollment and SSA. So this chart should be very familiar to you all. I know it's kind of hard to see on the screen here, but the blue line is our certified enrollment or our budget enrollment. So this is what our budget is driven off of. It's driven off of those blue bar amounts. The red number, or the red bars, are the served enrollment. So that takes into account students that are open enrolled in and open enrolled out. As we've discussed historically, we've been a net open enrolled out district, which is why that red bar is lower than that blue bar. But yeah, so last fall we did our certified enrollment, if you recall, did drop. We dropped 83.15 students, and our served enrollment decreased 32 students. And just as a reminder, this chart does reflect K-12 only. It doesn't include our preschool students, as we get separate categorical 0.5 weighted funding for those students. But our preschool headcount from last fall is also down 6 students. So from 251 to 245.
So just for clarification, of those 83 students, approximately 50 of the reduction was 50 less open enrolled out kids.
Correct. Yep. All right, next slide. Again, I know this is a little bit hard to read. The tool that is used to calculate this is also on the agenda as well, but this is basically what calculates our new money. So assuming a 2% SSA increase, taking into account the certified enrollment decline, when we put those pieces together, we come up with our new money for next year. So sometimes people might assume that because we're getting 2% SSA, that means we're getting 2% new money. That doesn't necessarily always correlate, because depending on what SSA is versus like an enrollment increase or decrease, your new money may not be as much. Because we had such a heavy enrollment decline this last fall, we are actually only getting 1% new money because of the decline. We're on what's called the budget guarantee for the upcoming year. And I'll go into that in more detail here in just a minute. So 2% SSA would be a new money increase of 1% because that budget guarantee is a mechanism in place to ensure that you get at least a 1% increase in a year of declining enrollment. So the new money dollar total would be $429,832. Because of the budget guarantee, $246,574 of that number at a 2% SSA increase at 246 would be full. The budget guarantee is fully funded through property taxes, and that's something that we'll work through as we get further into the certified budget process to see how that all shakes out, because that 246 could change depending on where SSA lands. This is just assuming the 2% recommendation from the governor at this point in time. So we've been pretty fortunate for the last several years with SSA increases and with how our enrollment has trended to have new money. So this is the first time we've been on the budget guarantee for several years.
Yeah, I think the two previous times were due to the sharp decline in enrollment post tornado and post ratio.
On the next slide. So the budget guarantee, what is it? So it's a mechanism in place that guarantees 101% of a district's prior year regular program district costs, regardless of enrollment changes. So if enrollment declines one year, you're guaranteed to at least get a 1% increase to kind of cushion that blow. As mentioned, it's impacted by SSA growth and enrollment changes. Like I said, it's designed as a 1-year buffer to ensure that at least you get 1 year increase of new money. But if you're in a district that is having consecutive years of declining enrollment, that's where things can start to spiral. If you're not careful in monitoring that and making adjustments to the budget as necessary, because when you're having constant declining enrollment, you don't get that 1%. You'll be on the budget guarantee every year, funding it through property tax, but it's not necessarily a 1% increase each year because of the timing issues with that. So right now, currently for us, SSA would have to be 2.59% for fiscal year 27 for the district not to be on the budget guarantee for next year.
And I think that's one of the debates in the legislature is, are we better off funding it at that level so there's many fewer districts that are on the budget guarantee, which the governor has said she would backfill with state funds?
Property tax reform is going to play a little bit of an issue into this, and depending on which version of property tax reform passes, and to Dr. Schuette's point, how that'll be funded, because depending on what passes, the legislature is wanting to bring property taxes down, but depending on the SSA level, it could actually be a higher property tax increase because of depending on how many districts are on that budget guarantee and what that dollar amount would come out to. So we'll see what's to come with that. But yeah, that's where we're at with that situation right now. So any questions before the rest of my time tonight will be kind of just outlining the timeline over the next few weeks. So moving forward, just the process itself, budget certification is due by April 30th each year. That is by statute. As you recall, something that's still fairly new. This will be year 3 of this, where it used to be you only had one public hearing that was held on your budget. Now there's 2 hearings that are held. First hearing is on the property tax statement that gets mailed out by the county auditors each year. So we have to add information to the county auditor by no later than March 5th. And then the county auditor has, I believe, 10 days to get those statements mailed out to constituents. We then have to hold a public hearing. We cannot hold that public hearing until at least March 20th. That public hearing is a separate meeting that is standalone, and it is an opportunity for the public to come in and ask questions and provide comments on those tax statements. There's no action taken at those meetings. Again, it's just an opportunity per the law to give folks an opportunity to come in and speak about those property tax statements that are issued out. And then next slide, then we get into the second hearing. This is the more traditional public hearing. So this is the one where we'll break down and publish the budget, not only setting the tax rate, but also breaking it down by those consolidated functional expenditure areas that I talked about a little bit ago. That'll be the hearing to hear the final public comments on the proposed budget. And then after that public hearing, some feedback from the board. We'll look at adopting the final budget for the upcoming year once that second hearing is done. But both hearings do require notice to be published in the local paper. It must be published not less than 10 days and not more than 20 days prior to those public hearings. Real quick, I'm going to just speak on bond financing. So this is a slide actually from last year. So back in November 24, we had the $57 million GEO bond that was approved by voters for the Miller Middle School, Franklin Field, and elementary audio visual enhancement projects that we've been doing. Elementary audio visual enhancement in Franklin Field, for the most part, are done or close to being done. So the bonding that we're going to be doing this upcoming spring will be related primarily for Miller Middle School. But again, that $57 million GEO bond approved by the voters back in November of 24. The remaining portion of the project will be $66 million in sales tax revenue bonds that will be utilized to fund the remainder of the project. As a reminder, that $66 million included calling and refinancing some of our current revenue bonds. We haven't done that yet. We're wanting to get through the bids and kind of see where the project is trending before we call those bonds, because we want to continue to get the lower interest on those bonds while we still can. So roughly $50 million of saved revenue funds will be issued for these projects, assuming that everything continues to trend on budget, which it currently is. So last year we did $30 million in save, last spring, $30 million in save revenue bonds. That was kind of the approach we took. So we're alternating. So last year was save revenue bonds. This year we'll be issuing general obligation bonds. Next year, say the following year, GEO. So we'll alternate that way for the next three years or so, depending on timelines of the project and things of that nature. Something a little bit unique this spring with the GEO bonds is that we're actually going to issue two sets of bonds. So the first one will be Series 2026A, which at the prior meeting, we did some procedural items to start that process. So that's going to be a short-term issue. If you recall, as part of the FY26 certified budget process, we approved what's called a pre-levy of the 3.6 million. This was done to stabilize the tax rate and also take advantage of the opportunity to levy for these funds now to have more project funds available, roughly 2.5 to 3 million after you take out all the fees and interest associated with these bonds, and also allow us to pay less over time with that. It saved us probably 3 to 4 years worth of bond payments if we would have waited to just do everything all at once this spring. So that'll be a short-term issuance that we have put that out to various local banks to purchase. Those will be due back here in a month, and then we'll act on that, but it'll be basically a 2-month amortization. So we'll issue the funds in April and they'll be paid back by June, since we've already levied the $3.6 million in the current fiscal year. And then the remaining GEO bonds for this year, estimated roughly at this time 30 million. That may or may not change. We're still working with our financial advisors at Piper Sandler for that, but that's the next big bond issuance. So you're going to see 2 series of bonds kind of running parallel with each other over the next several weeks as we work through the certified budget process, because the 2026B issuance will be essentially what we start levying for in the FY27 fiscal year. And that'll be your more traditional bond with a 20-year term. But like with all of our other long-term debt, we'll look at opportunities to pay that debt down early where possible. Continuing on, so here are just some key dates. There is a document on board docs there that's kind of a more detailed timeline if you care to look at it. these next couple of slides are just really the highlights. So at our next February 16th board meeting, we'll do a certified budget presentation to basically provide information on what the property tax statement will look like and get some feedback from the board, because once we set that rate and those total dollar amounts, we can lower them, but we can't increase them. So we'll probably be, typically with the property tax statements, we'll be a little bit conservative, just especially if things at the state level haven't been settled by then, to ensure that we meet statutory timelines and not put ourselves in a disadvantageous position with that. March 2nd, board meeting, we'll set that first public hearing for the certified budget and we'll adopt the resolution for the budget guarantee, because unless we're getting over 2.59% SSA, we're going to need, with the budget guarantee, you have to adopt a resolution each year. We'll also start the process for the Series A GO bonds, and then March 23rd, hold the first public hearing, have another certified budget presentation. That's where we'll get a little bit more further into the weeds with what the proposed budget to adopt will look like along, and how that factors into our financial forecasting projections for the next few years. And then last slide here again, March 23rd, again, that'll be kind of a big meeting. We'll set the second date for the final public hearing on April 6th. And then April 6th, we'll hold the second public hearing and then look at adopting our fiscal year 27 budget if there's no significant changes needed. April 7th, we'll submit everything to the county auditor as well as the Department of Management, like we do each year, and plenty of time before the April 30th deadline. And then we'll still be doing some stuff after that, mainly related to the GO bonds and issuance. So looking at probably mid-June, adopting the resolutions for the sale of those bonds. So there is a document in Assembly attached as well that was provided by Piper Sandler that kind of really breaks down in detail what the timelines for both series of bond issuances will look like over the next few months. But that, in a nutshell, is kind of what we're working on right now and what things will look like for the next 8 to 12 weeks.
Anybody have questions for Randy?
I have a question. Okay, so with the guarantee for the budget, so we get it a year, right? And so then that gives us a year to kind of,
it's a year buffer. Yep.
a year buffer to kind of figure out what our budget would look like in the next year.
Yeah, it's essentially designed as a mechanism to, not because of the timing, because you're getting the funding for the students the year following. So like the students that we're getting funding for this year, we're not getting funding until the following year because of the timing issue. That's why that mechanism is built in there, to provide that 1 year buffer so that adjustments can be made if needed. But yeah, when you get into that year over year declining enrollment, then it becomes challenging to where, you're having to look at the budget and look closer at potential reductions in that, because the funding that you're getting isn't keeping up with the consistent enrollment decline.
I was just thinking, with school vouchers and such, enrollment could go down. So it's nice to have that 1 year buffer.
Sure.
Other questions or comments?
Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
Yep.
Okay, board policies.
Me? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I had 3 policies to review. The first one was 302.1, superintendent qualifications, recruitment, and appointment. There were no changes, so we can mark that one as reviewed. The next one was 302.2, superintendent contract and contract non-renewal. Again, no changes, and we can mark that as reviewed. And the last one was 302.4, superintendent duties. Again, no changes, and I propose we mark it as reviewed.
Any questions for Sarah? Okay, those will be marked as reviewed. And then Dr. Shu, do you have some?
Yeah, we had some, I think they came through policy printers recently. So 40605 licensed employee group benefits, option one. There's no changes. That'd be marked as reviewed. 406.06 licensed employee tax shelter program, no changes. Mark is reviewed. H02, 802.02 request for improvements. Mark is reviewed. And then 501.15 open enrollment transfers, procedures as a receiving district. There were some changes that we've made to reflect recent changes in the law concerning particularly transportation of open enrolled students. So this would come back at the next meeting.
Any questions for Dr. Schutte? Okay. And 40605, 4066, and 8022 will be marked as reviewed, and 50115 will come back for a first reading to amend. Okay, Abby, anything additional for communications this evening? Okay. Any committee meetings take place since the last time we got together?
Thank you for the reminder.
So next meeting, we'll expect a full TQ report.
Okay, sounds good. Virtual, okay, I will be there. Yes. I don't think I do. No, I don't think I do. Okay.
Okay.
Next visit is Miller.